How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And I hope everybody's doing well. Well, we know the strategy for the Democrats is whatever Donald Trump and his administration does, they're going to file a lawsuit. I think I heard somewhere that since Donald Trump's been in office, over 160 lawsuits have been filed. And now there's been another lawsuit filed against the Trump administration. This time it's not from people in Congress. It's from Democrat attorney generals across the country. A total of 16 Democrat attorneys general are suing the Trump administration over the Department of Justice's settlement with rare breed triggers. And the leader of the attorney generals that are filing this lawsuit is New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin. And if you don't know anything about him, he's just a real tool. And listen to this. They claim that ending the ATF lawsuit, banning forced reset triggers, will result in the federal agency breaking federal law that restricts the possession of machine guns. Heck, I can take care of this lawsuit right away. Forced reset triggers are not machine guns. We all know that. And in Monday's press conference, this idiot Matthew Platkin said, for decades, ATF treated forced reset triggers as machine guns. But in the dark of night, the Trump administration reversed decades of precedents, not only by dropping the DOJ's civil action against rare breed triggers, but by agreeing to return 1,200 forced reset triggers that had been purchased by customers. This idiot Platkin also accused Donald Trump of putting gunmaker profits over public safety and raking in campaign contributions paid by blood money by the firearms industry. And with all that big talk that Platkin did, one thing he left out of his ridiculous talking points, that a federal judge, before Donald Trump's DOJ dropped their lawsuit against rare breed triggers, had already granted an injunction in a lawsuit that rare breed triggers sued the Department of Justice, saying the ATF exceeded their statutory authority by expanding definition of a machine gun and subsequently classifying FRTs as machine guns. U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor, in July of 2024, made that ruling. And one of the key things he spoke about is the phrase, single function of the trigger. Judge O'Connor also said that for decades, the ATF's regulations on machine guns mirrored the federal definition. But in 2018, the ATF issued a new regulation on machine guns, and that new regulation broadened the meaning of a machine gun by reinterpreting the statutory definition. And then a few years later, the ATF said that new definition applied to FRTs and bump stocks. But in June of 2024, the Supreme Court struck down the ban on bump stocks, saying the ATF exceeded its statutory authority by issuing a rule that classifies a bump stock as a machine gun. And in Judge O'Connor's decision that FRTs are not machine guns, he cited the ruling in Cargill versus Garland and struck down the ATF's rule on FRTs. And also here's what Judge O'Connor brilliantly said. Forced reset triggers must reset after every round fired. And a shooter who attempts to prevent the reset by holding the trigger in a fully depressed position will cause the weapon to malfunction. And basically, in more simple terms, Judge O'Connor was saying that FRTs and bump stocks do not allow for more than one shot to be fired from a single function of the trigger. But of course, at that time, the Biden administration appealed Judge O'Connor's decision. But Pam Bondi and the Trump administration settled with rare breed triggers. And get this, that idiot Attorney General Matthew Platkin and the other gun-hating Democrat attorney generals basically said that Judge O'Connor's decision just doesn't matter, and that the terms of that settlement, when it comes to returning people's confiscated FRTs, should be disallowed. What a bunch of horse shit that is. And also what these Democrat attorney generals are upset about is they think that the Department of Justice is going to return FRT triggers to people in states where they have been banned. But I'm pretty sure the DOJ won't do that. But if they're not able to be returned to the people in the states where they've been banned, they should be compensated for them. And they're also concerned that the Department of Justice will return FRT triggers to those who are now convicted felons. At best, the Attorney General's lawsuit against the Trump administration is weak. And most likely what these attorney generals are doing with this lawsuit is trying to gin up fear with their Democrat constituents, because President Trump prefers to protect the gun industry instead of other people. And like Attorney General Platkin said, he's bathing in the blood money from gun manufacturers, and that somehow President Trump and his administration are doing something illegal by settling the case with rare breed triggers. And like I said earlier, in 2024, Judge O'Connor already had thrown out that case. Once again, it's another frivolous lawsuit by Democrats. Them just trying to grandstand and say Orange Man's bad, and he's doing something illegal just because the Department of Justice settled that case. All the Democrats are doing is grasping for straws. And a lot of times they come up with nothing. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of these Democrat attorney generals suing Donald Trump and his administration just for settling the rare breed trigger lawsuit? And also, if you enjoy videos like this, and you also want to help the channel out and help it to continue to grow, I just ask you to take a few seconds of your time to like, share, and subscribe, and hit those post notifications. I would be very grateful if you did so. And I invite all of you to come back and watch my next video.